Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. r/AskReddit by Planet Reddit. What are some other examples of calm down syndrome? Things that people say to you in seemingly good nature, but never achieve anything other than piss you off. Person. Asking or saying something slightly stupid in a joking manner. Me. Plays along with the joke by answering the question. Person. OMG, I was just joking. So was I. Suya. Oh my gosh. How accurate these comments are. Let me explain something to you. When debating an issue, it's a condescending line. It didn't need to precede what you're about to say. It's the perfect compliment to let that sink in, which instantly ruins whatever might have preceded it. Absolutely. I also hate when in a debate, someone tries to soften their tone by calling me sweetheart or honey. Instant rage. I work in retail, and whenever there is a rude, annoying customer that is screaming and making a scene, right before they leave I crack a huge smile and say have a fantastic day. Some of them start screaming again and it is the best feeling ever. I had a really pleasant conversation with a CSR the other day, and I ended the call with no, I don't have any other questions, you've been very helpful. Have a great day. And she responded with you have better one. Damn lady. This isn't a contest. I'm still laughing about it. No. I must insist that, of the two of us, you have the better day. I'll gladly do chores around the house. No hassle. But for some reason when I'm asked, I'll absolutely despise having to do anything. As a kid, I loved going to my grandparents' house because we would spend all weekend working in the yard together. We would plant things, clean up flower beds, harvest fruits and vegetables, etc. It was all very demanding work, but felt very rewarding. The strange thing was, I hated going to visit my dad because we would spend all weekend working in the yard. It took me a long time to realize the difference and why I felt differently depending on who I was visiting. Eventually, I realized that with my grandparents it was a team effort that made me feel like I had control over the situation. They would put forth an objective, and we would accomplish it together. They might say, okay, we want to grow some tomatoes for pasta sauce. And then they would involve me in the planning from beginning to end. We would go together to pick up the seeds. They would even let me pick up some plants that I wanted to grow at times. They would ask me how I think everything should be done, and correct me if I didn't really understand it all. I felt like I was really invested in the project. I would go out to water the plants, trim them, etc. of my own accord just because I knew what needed to be done to keep the plants happy. In the end, my grandparents actually had to do very little because I was so attentive and invested. With my father it was much different. He had an idea of what he wanted done, and I was just cheap labor. He wanted to plant some new flowers, so I had the chore of going to pull weeds to clear the bed. When we went to pick out seeds and plants, I had to sit quietly while he made all the decisions and choices. It made me miserable and I would always want to stay inside instead. It is amazing to me how different it really felt to do the same things, just in different context. And you just hit the nail on the head about why I hated doing just about anything my dad asked growing up, but not when my mom asked. Just close your eyes and go to sleep. Yes, Dad. I've tried that. It doesn't just work like that. That's just bad advice. Close your eyes and relax your body and don't worry if you'll fall asleep or not. Being worried about not falling asleep is a big deal for preventing falling asleep. Yeah. I had trouble sleeping as a child until my parents told me that if you're relaxed and with your eyes closed you're resting anyway, and it counts as sleep hours. Of course. As soon as I stopped worrying about sleeping, I fell asleep. There's someone I work with who always asks how I am. Sometimes multiple times a day. If I say anything middle of the road like fine thanks or I'm doing okay, she always says incredulously just okay. It never fails to piss me off. WTF is wrong with being okay? It's not like I'm feeling bad. What is it to you that I'm not jumping for joy every second of every day? Well, no Carol. Not just okay. Just okay is what I was a minute ago. But now that you've annoyed the shit out of me for no reason, I'm not okay. I'm annoyed. Thanks. Carol. This is exactly the kind of thing I'd say in the shower. Hours after this whole exchange went down. Other people have it worse than you. Really? That just made me feel worse because I'd feel my issues were insignificant compared to others. And would feel like a piece of shit for feeling bad in the first place. I sometimes wonder if thoughts like that are making my depression worse than it should be. I feel depressed. Realize that my life is pretty good, some things could be better but overall I'd say it's quite nice. And then I feel like I don't have the right to be depressed and I feel so much worse. I'm the kind of person that tends to remain calm and methodical in an emergency situation. Serves me well as a professional firefighter. To bystanders I may appear to lack a sense of urgency or seriousness because I'm not emotionally freaking out like other people might. Yelling at me to hurry up will not improve the quality or timing of the results. In fact, it will probably have the opposite effect. People who freak out cause way more damage and even deaths than the event itself. Also, when people start screaming your brain feels numb and you can't even focus. That's when you tell them to calm down. It'll be fine. Makes weak argument loses argument lol bro you take things way too far shut the duck up. Edit. Now that this has quite a bit of upvotes, I'll clarify something. It might be just a problem with my individual personality but I'm the kind of person who values arguments and conversations for their actual logical value. People who bring in social dominance and try to back out after defending something proved false just ducking grind my gears. Just so they don't have to deal the pain of being objectively wrong. Even though if they were right they'd be rubbing it in your face. Or the equally infuriating. Unlike you, I'm not going to waste my time arguing on the internet. Bye. Mother Ducker. At the customer service desk at a local store, there's a sign on the wall that reads, "There's no reason for it, it's just our policy. When a customer complaint can't be remedied." The store rep just smiles and points to the sign, which often further infuriates the customer. I'm happy they're doing that instead of bending over backwards to accommodate every idiot who wanders in. Honest and direct though. My mom used to do this thing where whenever you'd complain to her about anything, had a headache, bad day, feeling tired, sucky, etc., she'd immediately try to make you feel better by giving you an endless list of examples of people who have it so much worse than you. Oh, your head hurts? Well, my friend's little cousin has this amazingly rare genetic disease where she's in horrible pain every single day and she's going to die in a few years and never get to grow up and her entire family will be devastated and heartbroken forever. You should really feel lucky you just have a headache. I follow up with, yes, and some people are dead. That doesn't invalidate anyone's pain. I've worked as an EMT for the last 8 years now. It hasn't been a long time compared to other professions. But enough shit has happened in that time to make me consider at least once a year getting out of the profession. But I still am honored to do it. I hate when people ask what's the worst thing you've ever seen. I understand the curiosity. I understand they're looking for a riveting story and a lot of times I try to humor people and give them the good stories that are either riveting or humorous. However, when that question is asked I am instantly flooded with memories of a dead 4-year-old. Ashen and grey. Limp as a ragdoll. I'm reminded of a 13-year-old who blew away the side of their skull with a 12 gauge. The 35-year-old who ingested strychnine and arrested as I was sitting there holding his hand telling him I was going to take care of him and he grabbed me and apologized to me for finding him like that. Countless others. If those are the stories you want to hear, I will tell them. They just don't make very good dinner conversation. And I can't always control my emotions. Edit. Hey guys. Thanks for the nice comments and message. I want to make a point to not be afraid to ask me these things or others in similar situations like our veterans, police and fire, and other medical professionals and other civil workers. But I want you all to just be aware of what you are asking, how you are asking, and to consider deeply how this conversation is going to work out for both parties. Gauge your audience and your speaker and always be patient and kind. Love you all. Just start with a dead 600-pound woman who lived alone in an unair-conditioned trailer with 6 hungry cats. And see if they still want to know more. I'll never forget the first time I went on a ride along and they needed to pull out the whale top for a woman who fell and broke her hip. Holy hell. People. Morbid obesity is real. Try smiling more. Yeah, I tried, but my clinical depression and PTSD decided I rather hate life today. Thanks. Duck all the way off. When people think they can solve other people's problems by giving them some obvious not helpful advice that always starts with "can't you just?" Example. I'm really struggling with low energy because of my insomnia. Can't you just try going to bed earlier? Wow, I never tried that. Thanks. It's all in your head. Of course it's in my head. That's why it's rattling me so bad. The mind is a powerful thing. Now why don't you stop being condescending and help me out? Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry. But why on earth should that mean that it is not real? Albus Dumbledore. Why are you so lonely? Just get yourself a girlfriend. I guess I'll just strap on my girlfriend helmet and fire myself out of the girlfriend cannon over to the girlfriend store where girlfriends grow on trees then. Just be glad you can do that. Some people have it worse because they don't have these options. Don't panic. But doesn't piss people off. But those words have never been followed by a sentence that didn't make the listener concerned. If that game is making you so mad, you should stop playing it. You don't understand, it must be beaten. I have my roommate tell me all the time that clicking harder won't make it any more effective and I get so pissed off. I enjoy frustrating games. But the whole point is that you get mad at them. Explain that the game is a safe way for you to vent stress in a harmless way. Yes, you're angry. But cussing out virtual Gandhi for being a maniacal warlord means that tomorrow you won't end up on an hour-long rant at the little old octogenarian Ms. Havison when she asks for the 5th time in the last half hour if you're absolutely sure there aren't some mothballs tucked away in a back room somewhere and whether you could be a dear and go check again. Just in case. Instead you can paint on your customer service smile and politely deal with the situation while plotting in the back of your mind how to utterly decimate the forces of Gandhi and anyone who dares follow him. Smile. Telling me just be yourself. When they notice that I'm being quiet around other people. If only they knew what I'm really like when I'm truly myself. Just be yourself. I'm quiet. You'll understand when you're older. Bonus points if you're an adult and this is said by a slightly older adult. Bonus points if you're an adult and this is said by a slightly younger adult. My husband has a terrible habit of saying, "It'll be fine for everything." I was in labor, having contractions, and he kept saying, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine." I eventually snapped and told him that phrase was banned forever from our lives. The sun's going down. Then sun's getting real low. In another few hours, the sun will rise. When looking for a lost object, try to remember where you last saw it. If I knew where I last saw it, that is where it would be. And I wouldn't be looking for it. A thing that folks say that grates on me. It's always in the last place you look. Hahaha. No shit. Hey. I found it. Am I gonna keep looking? I've seen this a lot recently and it is weird to me. Where I grew up it was last place you think to look but was meant as an unexpected place. We had a running game in college where we would try to come up with the best phrases like this to intentionally piss people off. The top 2 I remember are, "There is no need to be upset," and "I don't know why you are angry. I am not angry." Listen. You are just not understanding what I'm saying. Yes. I am. You are just ducking stupid. My dad does this all the damn time. He will say something that is completely mind-bogglingly dumb and when I disagree with him he just yells, "You are not seeking to understand." I'm sure you can do it. It's not that heavy. When talking about lifting things, I have a bad back. If I lift heavy things or carry moderately heavy things for too long, my vertebrae get compressed and swell up. This isn't a secret. I tell people the instant it becomes relevant. And people consistently try to tell me they know my limits better than I do. Shut the duck up. I like being able to get out of bed without assistance. Thank you very much. I'm forgetting the term. but it was something like hypertension. Basically doc told me that I can do every activity as well as anyone else but that it would take me much longer to recover. If Phil spends 7 hours doing hard yard work he may be sore the next morning. For me I will be sore the next 4-5 days. First thing my mom said when she found out. Oh so now you'll use that as an excuse to do less work. Thanks mom. When people tell expectant parents sleep now because you won't have a chance when the baby comes. Like that's going to be any comfort after 2 weeks of sleeping in 3 edit. Hour intervals you stupid yam. I'm going to start calling people stupid yams. When I was suffering from first trimester exhaustion, people kept saying get used to it. You'll never not be tired again. Gee. Thanks. No you are just overreacting. There is nothing wrong with your son. Told to me by family and co-workers when I began panicking after my 1-year-old son suddenly stopped all forms of social engagement and communication following a pretty severe fever. My wife's family and co-workers gave her the same reassurance. So she believed them and stated in very clear terms that I was going off my mind with worry that was unwarranted for. We had pretty severe arguments for months. I told her that it was not normal for a child to not look at you when being called by name or to not be startled when loud noises are made unexpectedly. Not all children are the same, everyone said. As time went by I also started showing her that a number of important development milestones were not being reached. Each time she insisted there was nothing wrong and that he'd soon catch up on those milestones. Supported by family and co-workers of course. Clearly for her I was an error and was going insane on a non-issue. But she relented and accepted to take our son to a child psychologist for evaluation. For my sake of course. To cut a long story short, the psychologist saw signs of autism and after a number of evaluations from different professionals over a number of years this was officially diagnosed. Thanks to my insistence we managed to catch the issue early and could start doing therapy at an age where it is more effective. Calm down my ass. I go looking for potential problems before they come looking for me. I was expecting you to say your kid had hearing loss. My wife had hearing loss as a result of a fever when she was a child. Her mother had to literally argue with the doctor to do a hearing test. It's so odd to me that someone would argue with a worried parent rather than just run a simple test. Even if the test turns out fine. At least the parent knows they can rule that out. I'm autistic but the doctors thought I had hearing loss because I wasn't responding to tests at baby age. Fortunately my parents knew better. When people tell me, you should smile more, and then proceed to say, you're so pretty when you smile. I hate that so much. I was smiling until you showed up. Slap some minions on it and post it to Facebook. If you stop trying, you'll get pregnant in no time. Just let it go. Shit I don't wanna be. Better start trying. Yup, it's all just mental. There's no underlying physical issues on either side that could be preventing it. We just need to relax and have sex and things will happen. I have a hearty go duck yourself for anybody who says that. I'm gazing off into the distance. Mind preoccupied with other things. Mum. What's wrong? Me. Mumbles nothing. Mum. I know something's wrong, I can tell by the tone of your voice. Beach. I was just thinking about having cheesecake later. But now I'm genuinely pissed. I absolutely hate this. What's wrong? Nothing. Really? You can tell me. What's wrong? Nothing. Seriously. You to me. You know. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Leave it alone. You sure? Cause you seem mad. I'm mad because you keep asking me what's wrong. When people say, you just need to put some effort into it. You're just not focused enough. Keep your eyes on the prize. See also. Just keep trying. You'll get there. It's not talent. It's work. You've got the right idea. Just do it better / more. Beach, I took 12 years of art school. Skipped holidays and birthdays to work on school projects. The best feedback I ever got was has potential. Could try harder. A short person will never be a pro basketballer. No amount of effort will change that. Nor will my hand-eye coordination challenge self ever be an artist. Have you tried not being depressed? Lol. Yeah, let me just reach up into my brain and flip the switch. Console set depression 0. Just be happier. I used to work retail, so I heard it a million times, and now when I hear it in a store, I get furious for the employee. There's no price tag, so I guess it's free. Ahahaha, butthead laugh. You know how many times we hear that shit. Okay. Simmering down now. We have a whiteboard in the staff room with a tally for all the regular shite customers come out with. The boss says we are not allowed to start a gambling ring in the workplace by betting on the outcome. First one to reach 20 tally marks. What was on the list? I wanna try and work in every single one the next time I'm shopping. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.